What's up, people? In this video I'm going to be showing you how I made this project here. It's a memorial stone and stone bench, but it applies to any type of boulder that I make, like this one here, or that one over there. So I picked up this piece of foam, 24 by 24 inch from an exterior trim supply company. I got this hot knife off of Amazon. I picked up for, I think it was like 40 bucks. So I'm going to try to carve this thing up. Before I carve it up, I'm going to just kind of lay out some rough lines based on kind of like, the form that I want. Just kind of freestyle it. I already measured the actual job location. Like, there's a tree and a plant bed that this thing is going into. And so I kind of already know that the dimensions that I want, it's going to work on this piece. So here I am, just kind of double checking my measurements, and I start going to town on it with this hot knife. Worked pretty good, I will say. It stinks like a son of a gun, so if you guys are gonna try this, make sure you're in a well ventilated area, and do not breathe it in. I'm holding my breath every time, as much as I can anyway, because it is toxic. I got her all carved up here. I'm pretty happy with the result. Alright, now we're going to start mixing up the stucco to cover up the foam with. I use this Quickcrete stucco white base from Lowe's. Works real well if you cover it up with white instead of using like a gray, because then when you go to stain it later, you can darken it up how you want. Obviously, if you use a gray, then the color is going to come out much darker, so when you go to add your color to it, you're kind of limited. Alright, so my first batch I made a little too thin, so now I'm just making this one a little bit thicker. When I'm going to take the thinner one, add it to the thicker one, and you just kind of want like a peanut buttery paste type thickness to it. Here I am buttering everything up with stucco, just not trying to make it too smooth, just making sure I cover everything up. Here I am putting the second coat on. After I let it tack up a little bit, I just want to go around with a sponge and some water, squeeze your water out real good, and then I just try to rub the stucco around in a circle, and it kind of just fills in any little gaps or valleys or anything like that. Now I'm just taking my trowel and putting some lines in it. You know, when you go around with the sponge, you kind of like smooth everything out to where it just starts looking more of like a plain, you know, sand texture, not looking so natural like you would see a rock in nature. So I'm just going around and kind of putting some flat spots in some different areas and some scratch marks in there. This part you just want to be creative and do whatever you like. With this being a memorial stone, I want the face of this side to be a little bit flatter than I normally would if this was just like a regular boulder that I was doing, like an accent boulder in the yard or something like that. You would want to leave it, you know, a little bit more rough looking, maybe some deeper lines and stuff. But because I'm going to have letters on the face of this, I want to get this a little bit more, you know, smoother than I would normally. Okay, so I got the rock all covered up with stucco. Now I'm onto the bench. I covered up that with the first coat real thick as I could. Just kind of let it dry for just a minute or two, and then I'm going around with a wet sponge. Just squeeze the sponge all the way out as much as you can, and then you're just basically trying to fill in, you know, back and forth with the sponge to kind of like smooth it out. Doesn't have to be too smooth because obviously you're going for a rock look, so this part is just kind of like whatever you like. Now on to my favorite part, which is staining. First you want to wet the entire stone. I'm using a concrete stain from, you can get it from Lowe's or Home Depot. I'm just using a beige and a gray stone. So I'll constantly make sure that all the surface is wet as you apply it. It's really hot this day, so you'll see me wetting it a lot. But it's very important because if the stone or the concrete's real dry, when you hit it with the stain, it'll just, I mean, it'll be permanent, you know. So you want it to be more of a real blended look, which I think looks the most natural. Then you want to just really take your time with it. And so I'm using a gray as one of my colors, and beige, like a brownish beige. You can see here on the bottom where I kind of missed it with a little bit of the water, or just dried too fast, but you can see those lines in there. What I'm talking about, how it's just kind of like permanent now. I'm gonna have to work around that. It's on the very bottom of the stone, and this stone is going to be kind of tucked in to the area that the landscape area that we're putting it, so it's not going to be a big deal. But I'm going to continue to have to just kind of try to blend that area in. So again, very important, always work with wet product. Alright, so here we're adding the black at the end. I like to wait till last to get all your colors on there first, and then use the black at the end. Same process, just wet everything down, but the black is really going to make everything kind of stand out. It gets all into the cracks and the crevices there. It gives it more of a defined look. Okay, so same process for the bench, just going over it with my two colors, the brown and the gray. I'm going to put my black over top of it, but you can see the definition a little bit better in this video because the sun's not blaring. Okay, so and we're all done staining, I made a stencil on my Cricut, and now I'm just gonna take the stencil on there and spray paint. Okay, so this is the part of the project where everything kind of really started to hit me, just the gravity of what exactly I was doing. This was a project for a friend's customer, so this was not a customer I dealt with directly, but I did hear the story, and apparently this guy had lost his daughter to a rare disease, and it really didn't have a timeline for when this was going to be due, but it turned out this is just a couple days before Father's Day, and I realized that I was going to be delivering this thing on Father's Day. I'm using a vinyl stucco tape you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot. Works pretty good for sticking to the rough surface there. I lost the R, so I had to manufacture my own. Now I'm just going around all the edges, making sure they're pushed in really good, because obviously when I put the paint on there, don't want it bleeding through at all. Okay, spray paint time. Pretty self-explanatory. Just trying to get everything covered up real nice. Paint not 100% dry, but I can't wait. So just carefully removing it. Okay, here's the finished product just before I bring it over to my customers. Thanks for watching. God bless.